Hello everyone and welcome to episode 24 of 6 out of 7 podcast. I'm Liam.
And I'm Callum.
Nice to see you, Callum.
Nice
How
to
was
you.
your travelling?
It was lovely, man. It was really nice. Thank you for...
It's so weird. We've been hanging
asking.
out for like an hour or so.
Yeah, we've kind of done this debrief, but just the facsimile.
Debrief.
It's a tasty debrief. We've had a facsimile of the debrief just then. It was lovely. You've been away? How's your time away been?
Yeah, I can't really talk about it, but it was good.
Yeah, you had a nice time though.
Yeah,
You
it
were
was
away.
good.
It's good to be away. It's good to just take some time away.
I didn't like really being away though.
No?
You're
a homebody.
I prefer to be at home with the cats and the wife.
Yeah, I don't have either of those things, so
Yeah, maybe one day.
I like going away. But what are we talking about?
We are, well, let's go through all the films we have seen in the
Okay.
past 3 weeks. Is that your stomach?
I think it's the paper.
Like your notepad. Can I start with yesterday?
Talk about yesterday.
You seen yesterday?
I've seen yesterday.
Give me your thoughts.
I like the Beatles. There was like 17 songs. It's pretty good. I was confused by the morality of it, but
What do you mean?
like the whole film, he was like making all this money. Like the idea was that he was making all this money off this product.
Well, did
that
he
wasn't
make any
his.
money though?
And then he's like, actually, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
This is actually a story about love, and I love this girl, and the Beatles have got in the way between me and this girl. Which it was unclear. It was unclear. And like Kate McKinnon was quite good. I think those are basically my rounded thoughts. Ed Sheeran was alright as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's the songs. I like the songs. And the film gave me the songs.
Uh-huh.
Had a dream in it.
Last week's episode. Oh, thank you very much to
Yeah.
Jake last week. He was great.
I really enjoyed that episode, Jake.
Yeah.
It was one of the
Genuinely, I think Callum did enjoy it.
best. I did. I looked up the essay as well, which I'm sure none of you did.
There you go.
And you should have.
Learning.
Yeah.
He's
he had
a
lots to
teacher.
say. I'm not a teacher, but the
No,
essay...
Jake is, not
Jake,
you.
no,
You're not.
I'm
Jake
not.
is.
Jake is, and I would encourage anyone who likes dreams and films to look up the essay because he's put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, what a man Jake is.
Well, man, Jake is, and this man, I forget the name of him, the Coloradan, and he's from Boulder in Colorado. Are they called Coloradans?
I don't know. You need to ask one.
What do you think about yesterday?
I hated that.
You hated it.
Hated it so much.
Big fan of the Beatles.
Yeah,
Not a
I
big
was
fan
just
of them.
I liked Kate McKinnon. That's the only.
Yeah.
But I hated it's the guy from EastEnders.
Himish Patel or something.
Yeah, whatever. He was fucking dreadful. He's so unlikable in it.
He's
And
Hugh Grant. Whoa, they're having a fight.
They are.
Cats are here.
Right,
and
you
they're unhappy.
you can go out if you want. Right, they're battering each other. There's one point where he's working in a supermarket at the start, and his boss comes up and he's like, "You're so likable that's the reason I'm not firing you." And you don't know him at the start, but by the
Yeah.
end I was like, "How he's so whiny. He's just a little bitch.
He's one of those.
He's a little B word.
He's one of those, there's more to him than meets the eye kind of thing, I guess, is the thought. Like, he's got unplumbed depths that Lily, what's her face,
Incorrect.
knows.
Incorrect. It's terrible. There's no so for anyone that likes the Beatles and likes how obviously from Revolver they were like, we're not going to tour.
Yeah.
We're just going to. I'm not going to talk about the Beatles all the time, but it's a Beatles film, so I got it.
Like, and it's approved by like the Widows and like the Living
Of
Beatles.
course
Like,
it
they
is.
must have done.
They were
like,
probably
Apple.
like, "Do you want some more money?" They're like, "Hell yeah, make it rain."
No.
But so like after Revolver, it was basically like just the studio album was the tour. Do you know what I mean? They would like they got the idea from Elvis. Instead of touring, he would drive a Cadillac around, and people could like pay money to go and see his Cadillac or his limo or something like that, and be like, "Oh my god, this is Elvis's thing." So they were like, "We don't need to tour anymore. Let's just make a really interesting album, and that will be just as big." Sort of
Yeah.
thing. So, and like you're like, "Oh, Beatles." So he's going to re-record all the Beatles songs. That's going to be really interesting to hear how a modern take on everything. He just knows the songs.
He doesn't even know them all very well. Like, I'm trying to remember Eleanor Rigby was like quite funny.
Oh,
I think.
it's so dreadful. But
No?
like, it's just it's okay. Don't worry.
I'm just concerned.
They're
The
not gonna
cats
come
are
at you,
moving at
so-
speed. Jake was very comfortable in this environment. I am not very comfortable in this environment. This environment is stressful.
I thought like when he does a rooftop gig, obviously as well, and like
Version of Help.
yeah, I hated that
That was
because
a bit, yeah.
it's not like
It was so on the nose.
It doesn't sound like how like John Lennon would sing it. It's just like this very generic, like how you would hear it played in like a wedding or a
Yeah.
function or something like that. Just very like almost like a punk.
Yeah,
pop song.
because he's also losing his he's having this my relationship.
Don't read too
difficult.
much into it.
No,
It's
that's what
garbage.
it's about. That's what it's about. He's asking for help. He's screaming for help.
And then at the
it's
end,
a cry for help.
So at the end, like Groundhog Day and like Freaky Friday and 17 again, all these films were like something's shifted. You
reverts
think
back.
at the end he's going to wake up, and I assumed at the end he was going to wake up and he would be back at the crash.
Yeah.
And it would be Paul McCartney would be like his male nurse or something like that. Right? They get Robert Carlyle to play John Lennon.
That was weird. What? You're,
so bad. Like,
Liam's like, his mind is boggling.
He looked like him, but I was just like...
He didn't look like him.
He did a wee bit, but I was like, I hate this
John
so
Lennon
much.
never made his 78, so there's no way to know. That
yeah, fair enough. But he looked like... He looked like...
He had a good
John
accent,
Lennon.
maybe.
Yeah, okay. But at the end, I thought, yeah, he's going to wake up and like the Beatles will be playing or something like that, like on like the hospital radio, and Paul McCartney will be like he's nurse or something like that, and that'll be like a wee joke.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, "You look just like Paul McCartney," sort of thing. But it just ends, and it's like
a Harry Potter gag.
And and he's like, "Oh, I feel like when Harry Potter defeated Voldemort," and the girl he ends up with, because it's a love story.
Because Richard Curtis, and like everything's about the bumbling guy needs to get the girl.
Yeah, and he said, "Who's Harry Potter?" And then he looks right at the camera and he's like, "Oh, no one." So as if I'm going to write the Harry Potter series. Hated it. Lot of shit. There's no Oasis, but there's the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, The question of influence was a bit like weak.
And there is Coldplay.
Yeah.
But like
Oasis, that's an obvious one. Obviously, Oasis wouldn't be there. Like, yeah, I'm with you, man.
Lot of shit.
Ed Sheeran trying to be an actor.
Hated Ed Sheeran as well. There's one point where it's
try your best, man, but like stick to the albums.
See, it's not him, like I don't like his music, but like fair play to the guy, he's a millionaire and he's like made it just playing guitar with a loop pedal.
Yeah.
Good on him, like not for me, but good on him. But in this film, there's a point where they're like, he goes on tour with him, he's his support act, and
it's just the bit where she talks about John the Baptist and you're Jesus.
No, well that was fucking horrific as well, but there's a point where he's like, we're going to have a songwriting contest.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, go in this room and just come out with something, and it needs to be something you've never... I feel
not your bottom drawer.
We've
talked about the whole film.
Yeah, for like 7 minutes.
So
this is longer than...
I think you want me to defend this film, but I have no real...
Can I just say this bit, because I fucking hated it so much.
Go for it.
There was a bit where they go...
They're in Moscow.
Yeah, songwriting contest, they come out of a room, Ed Sheeran's playing this bullshit. Like,
about
just
Penguin.
Usual bullshit. And then he comes out and plays The Long and Winding Road. Not all of it, but like the verse, chorus, and like the wee middle eight part, and you're meant to feel Ed Sheeran like goes off in a huff, and you're meant to feel bad that Ed Sheeran can't write a song as good as Long and Winding Road by Paul McCartney.
I'm so furious. Look at that noise. That looks like a phallus. That's quite a funny sound wave.
Hated it. 0 stars. -5 stars.
Yeah.
Nah, it wasn't that bad, but it's proper. If you're a Beatles fan and you came out of it being like, I just liked hearing the songs, then nah, no good.
Oh.
No good.
No good. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, Richard Curtis hasn't made a decent film in a while, to be fair to him.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Midsummer, the natural ally of that, these two paired.
Quite a segue.
Midsummer, I watched that yesterday. It's sort of already left my brain. Did you like it?
Yes and no. Like, well, not mostly no, but I think...
Give us the premise.
Well, like...
What did you think it was about?
It's a breakup film.
Breakup film.
So, at the start, there's spoilers for her, I keep going to say Hereditary, Midsummer. So, at the start, she's on the phone, and she's got a bipolar sister, and she's not heard from her in like a day or something, or is it a bit longer?
Yeah,
3 days or something like that.
Day, yeah.
And she's freaking out, and she's on the phone to her boyfriend, and she's basically saying like, I'm really worried, and he's like, oh, she's just bipolar, just leave her, I've just smoked a bunch of pot. And already I was like, he's a shit.
Yeah.
He's a shithead, why is she with her? Why is she with him?
Yeah.
Turns out her sister's killed herself and our parents.
So you're going to check on that? The cats have like...
It's fine.
Crashed and walloped.
They're in the literature.
Okay.
I've probably picked that up. And then,
definitely has.
So our shithead boyfriend is going to Holland. Sweden, to like, basically like for a
it's a festival, but the guy, like, it's the guy who's like Chidi from Good Place is like doing a thesis. They're all like PhD students.
Yeah. But they're all wankers as well, but not proper, like pretentious. Yeah. They're right in the middle.
They're like the perfect target for a horror film, like you want them to die.
But so they go, basically they're going, and it's sort of like a guy's trip, and then she finds out that he was going to go and not tell her, sort of thing. So she ends up going with them, and then it all kind of goes. At the start, you're like, oh, this is going quite well. They take magic mushrooms in a field. It's when this older couple, there seems to be like a ritual. They all have this meal, and then they follow them into the top of this cliff, and then they jump off it. Yeah. And when the lady jumps off it, she dies, but when the guy jumps off it, he breaks his legs, and he needs to be like hit over the head to finish him off.
Like a few times.
At that point, I would be like, I agree with what you were saying. The film should have went nuts.
Yeah, that's when it should have unravelled, but it didn't unravel. Like, everyone kind of like it slowed down again. It was like a 9-day festival, and it fucking felt like 9 days, man. Like, it was so long. It was such a long film.
After that, it should have been like, because there's a British couple in it that are like, what this is crazy. We need to go. We're leaving. No, fuck you. I've got
a story here. I was watching it and it was subtitled, right? First of all, I was watching it, that was bad from my experience, but also at that moment, a mum and a kid walks in. And they go up to the back row and they sit down just as the guy's like freaking out, like, what the fuck? And they go and they sit for a couple minutes.
Oh my god!
Before, and they do like the lingering shot of the flies on the face and all this stuff, and then they walk out. Like, that kid was messed up.
I would say that's the worst part.
Yeah,
the shot where you see it, because it's obviously like, I was watching it with Steph and she was kind of wincing and like she couldn't look at that bit, but I was like, it's so fake looking. Oh god, that stinks.
Good thing this is an audio podcast.
Oh, that stinks. It smells like fire. Jesus Christ. But that would be that when you see the squash face, it just looks so fake, but it is probably one of the most horrific.
Like the eyeball is a bit.
Film. So it's, to me, it's a breakup film. At the start, she's in a quite shitty relationship. She's trying to make it work. She's trying to make the best of it.
She's having that phone conversation with that one friend that she's got.
Yeah, and then towards the end, he gets chosen to basically. It's kind of like the Wicker Man. He kind of gets chosen to be. Well, actually, does this even happen in the original one? But in the Nicolas Cage one, he gets chosen to procreate with one of the girls, and then he gets killed.
Yeah,
and she stays on the island.
Well, she chooses to. Yeah, she gets a choice. Like, is it him or there's a weird sort of like tombola bit. Is it him or is it Torbjorn or whatever? Do you want to kill her? And she obviously goes with him because she catches him. In that weird, that's a very strange sex scene.
Was that meant to be funny? Did people laugh?
Yeah, people laughed in mine. The old lady like pushing his buttocks.
Well, yeah, and the part where like the girl was having sex, and I assumed they were mother and daughter because they looked really similar.
Yeah,
and she's right in her face singing. Yeah. People laughed at that bit, and then when she's pushing.
And I had all the like subtitles. It was like Swedish vocalizing, and then it was like Christian joins in. It was really like the subtitles really took me out of the film. Like I messed up. I watched it at the local, but I messed up the time. I didn't go it's kind of on the way out of the cinemas at this point. So it was the convenient showing for me was a subtitled showing.
Oh right, okay.
And it was lots of like vocal. I really enjoyed that. Them all sort of sharing the experience. Like when the guy breaks his legs, everyone starts sort of screaming and like they're empathizing with him. And when Danny sees Christian like cheating on her or whatever, she has that weird sort of wailing session, and they all kind of join. That was really freaky. I found that really sort of like, that's quite a cool thing, but it didn't hold the film up certainly. And that was like when they're all burning in the temple, the weird sort of triangular temple. It's like, nah,
no good.
I'm bored.
I think the thing to me, it's like a breakup film. It like a guy in my work was explaining it to me, and I was like, I didn't think of it that way, but it totally is when you think of it like that. Like she's like over it at the end because she smiles. She's like burning to death.
She buys into
but
it.
Also like she's looking for her family. And like the family like cry with her when she's upset and stuff like that. So it's one of those films I finally like sussed out like how I feel about like arty films,
right?
Where it's like you take a normal film, right? Say it was me and you going to meet at the cinema. In a normal film, it would cut me walking out my door, locking it, and then I'd be at the cinema. An art film, you see me walking down the stairs and going in my car and driving my car,
right? And
walking out into the cinema. Do you know what I mean? There's just a lot in this film where it's like this could have been cut quite easily.
I need to see this,
a lot of lingering, like just people walking across a room,
people walking in and out of shot, like the field, like the little boy that like they track a little boy running, and I have no idea why.
But that's the thing. Like I'm sure this is meant to mean something to somebody, but
it's like I think it wavered. It was like uneasy. The point was the whole film you're kind of feeling a bit uneasy, but I just got a bit like hurry up, man. Like let's move on with this story, because when he's like running around with his phallus out after the moment, and he like stumbles on like the guy's leg is sticking out of the ground, and like then he runs into the chicken coop, and then the guy's there. I think like that, make more of that. Don't have all of this weird like sex scene and all this weird like she's in these like flowered she's in that weird flowery maypole thing. Like I don't get that. I don't get why like that made me more sort of bored than uneasy. I think just that didn't match it. Didn't match that.
The use of the guy, I think it was a guy with the facial,
the inbred
dysmorphia or whatever you would call that. I'm not sure exactly what was. I just think he was like is this director always just going to put people like that because there's the girl in Hereditary, obviously, but she has more of a character. From the trailer, I assumed she was going to be. I think I've said this to you.
Hereditary is such a better film.
But I assume she's going to be the wee creepy girl that's around the corner making that like clicking noise with her mouth. But she's actually got a fleshed out character, and when she dies in Hereditary, you're like, oh, this is really
Hereditary.
Sorry, but it's really horrible. Whereas in this, it just now and then cuts to this guy with like, no offense, but like a horrible looking person,
unsettling,
you know, and like there's no value to add in it. It's just basically like look at this guy. Oh, he's weird looking. Let's put it into this film. I thought that was really, really horrible, just because that guy's been cast because he looks like that.
I think there's some prosthetics going on there, maybe.
Do you think so?
I'm not sure. I'd love to know, because apparently she had some prosthetics as well.
I thought she was born like that as well, though.
But there was some additional sort of like he wanted to extenuate those sort of things.
Well, I've not looked into it enough to be like that, but I just thought that was really like there was no
point to. I agree. I agree. It was just like that weird like a comment about incest, like a deliberate product of incest. Like you guys are already weird. I don't need any more sort of evidence to suggest that you're weird. But I mean, fuck, like. He's going to keep making those films because people like it's got a lot of support.
But it cost less than 10 million, and I think it's made 23 so far. So it
felt like a 9-day film. What happened to Connie as well? Connie must have been killed to make up the numbers, but like they
just never go back to that. I assume that's a deleted scene or something.
There was a woman screaming, but like what happened to Connie? Like, where did she go?
The Dead Don't Die. I've also seen that. That's pretty.
Would you
bad.
recommend it?
I recommend it. It's just a bit of a the like concepts. It's like a zombie film, and the cast obviously is really, really. That's what a lot of people are going to see the film for. But it doesn't really take off, to be honest. It's like it's self-aware, but to the point where you're like, this isn't like a parody. This is like, I can't tell if this is taking itself serious or not. Just not very good. Would not recommend it. I've also seen Annabelle Comes Home, which is.
Too many monsters.
It's fine. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it. This is what I'm hearing. People say too many monsters.
There's the young girl in it is really, really good, but there's just a bit for the first 40 minutes. It's pretty dull. Yeah. So I would recommend it if you like all the Annabelle films. But
we haven't recommended a single film so far.
Yeah, I feel like the ones I've seen recently have been really
maybe Lion King's good.
Lackluster. Well, from what I've we can actually talk about Lion King.
That segues into our topic.
That's a very good segue. So this title of this episode, which you've already clicked on,
will know,
is CGI ruining films? ?
Yeah, we're going with big posits.
Is it?
Is it? You tell me.
No, you tell me.
I don't think it's ruining films. No,
it's not ruining films.
It's that's like that we've sort of set ourselves up there with an obvious one.
To be like, no.
But I think they definitely like CGI is used poorly. It's used ineptly. I think the way we had the soundtrack conversation, where it's like soundtracks are great and they're all often good things. I think the same thing could be said for CGI. Like CGI is often great and quite good. I was on a train. No, I wasn't. I was on a plane going to Dublin, and there was a woman on her phone. Don't watch films on your phone on a plane.
Well, I mean,
she was watching Hunger Games, and I believe it was Catching Fire. And it's the bit where you love this film. You're familiar with it. They're on the train. They're going from District 12 to the capital, and like it's just clearly they're not on a train. Like it's just they're in a room, and there's like greenery flying by, and they're not even wobbling, right? And it's just like, why have you done that? Why not just put them on a train? Just put them on a bloody train.
Yeah, you can afford it.
You can afford a train and like 30 miles of track and just go round and round and round. And like, I guess the counter argument is like, it's like a futuristic train, but it doesn't even look like believable CG, believable scenery. I think that was what bothered me. I mean, it's kind of it's
a weird one to start with, the train scene in the Hunger Games, whatever. But
yeah, Catch a Fire.
For me, it's yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes or no. But
it's a simple yes or no question.
Are you quoting Livy?
No, I can be if you want.
But there's lots of different points to it, I would say. Yeah. So the first one I've got is when it's not used. CGI isn't used sparingly anymore. No. So if you take something like Terminator 2, where it's like there's a lot of it, not a lot of it, but there's quite a bit of it throughout the film. Yeah. But it's not.
The T-1000 is mostly
like the scenes where he's like morphing back into a human and stuff like that. But it's not. That's not all of the content.
That's not the only thing to enjoy about the
film. Do you know what I mean? Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I know it's a film from.
Was that more practical though? Was that?
Well, apparently there's only. What is it, like 15 minutes of CGI scenes in the film or something? Like, there's not much in it. I'm probably wrong, but well off. But for that, there's a lot more like practical effects and like that's nowadays with films. It seems like there's a lot more like emphasis on, because is it cheaper? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
CGI.
Probably right. I think if you want to like capture a spectacle, and you want like big things to happen on screen, and you want to do it time efficiently, like you've only got so many days of shooting. It's much easier to have someone like spend weeks and weeks mulling over a frame than it is to have like to construct an enormous thing.
Well, if you compare Jurassic World to Jurassic Park, I can't imagine there's much practical stuff in Jurassic World. Maybe I'm well off.
I think Jurassic World has got a fair bit of CG.
Obviously, like the raptors, won't be.
It's like men in it. It's like little men in like funny like polystyrene triangles and stuff.
Yeah, well, we were watching that vlog of Florida,
tell us more about that.
I know you love the Florida stories.
Give that a plug,
and maybe they'll sponsor us
if they listen.
And there was people dressed up as raptors, and coming out and being like, blah.
Right. These are grown men and women hanging out with other grown
and they're
men.
getting paid probably more than us.
It's almost certainly more
great.
Than us. Good for them. I mean, what are we getting towards there? I don't know. Are animators paid enough? Do you think? Like, if it's a question of like it being cheaper, then maybe we should pay animators more.
As long as they're not like, it's not like a pure shop in like Korea or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, where obviously they're not. If it's like Hollywood, I would assume so. But I heard Sausage Party was like they were really really shitty to their animators. They like made them like work overtime and didn't pay them for it. And like went over schedule.
Like the unsung heroes, right? Surely.
Well, obviously, of like.
I don't know any famous animators.
But
cut all that.
Have you got another one? Have you got a next one?
I mean, I guess I haven't got like a huge amount of examples of things.
We're not. This is the thing. We're not doing examples.
We're not just talking about films. Well, what other thoughts I have? Like it's the design. Yeah, it's cheaper and it's in order to make stuff fantastical, things you haven't seen before. Like the Warcraft movie. This has come to me.
Oh, that looks disgusting.
You can't fly to a part of the world where like shit looks like that. So you have to like do it in this green screen, this blue screen.
But do you?
And I guess I believed
that?
it. I mean,
like,
I'm not a fan of Azeroth, so I couldn't be like, this is an authentic representation of that world that I have close affinity to. But I think, it's cool. It's cool that we can do that. Like Avatar, maybe. How about Avatar?
Well, this is what
Unobtainium.
This is what I'm going to compare, because obviously Avatar had a bigger budget and probably spent a lot more time. Like Avatar 2 keeps getting pushed back, so I assume that's something to do with like they're always wanting to perfect it, sort of thing. But when I watch like Avatar, or I've not seen Warcraft or whatever, or like stuff like that where it's all pretty much CGI with a couple of like live action people in it, like real actors in it. You're never like, oh my god, this looks so real. You're like, I'm watching a CGI film.
Right, but you're not in a similar vein. You're not taken out of it. I'm not like, obviously I don't believe in trees and flying dragon things, right? But I'm not looking at it and seeing a disconnect or thinking that it's not real. And I think that's where CGI really falls down, is when you're looking at it and you're like, I can clearly see. Yeah,
it takes you out of it.
Yeah, I can see the zips behind the hoods.
I think that's that's where that's the point in it, isn't it? That they wanted to create something that you're like, this is like Lord of the Rings. See the Battle of Helm's Deep, like the armies are all CGI, but when you're watching it, you're like, you don't even think. And I think that's like when you're watching Jurassic Park, you're like, the original, like,
there's a bloody T-Rex over there.
Well, you're not like, oh, that looks like a real T-Rex. You know you're watching a film, but it's like, it doesn't take you out of it. Whereas something like Jurassic World would. Or
if you're in like if the whole premise of the film, the whole idea of the film is so fantastical that you can't not be aware of its CG thing. Like Hereditary, not Hereditary, Midsummer, like the drug taking bit. Were you, when you saw that, did you think like, oh, I'm now watching something CG, or were you more?
No, well, I wasn't like, because I hate. I've said this before in the podcast. I hate when films do that, like be like, oh, they've smoked some weed, so it's like everything's like. But I thought that was
pretty good.
That was probably the closest to like what it feels like
to my own personal experience.
100%,
like the way the faces melted or like became unusual.
The bit with the grass at the hand, but see when they were just looking at the tree and it was slowly like, that is totally like that. The director's obviously taken a lot of drugs in his life, basically. To be, or the visual artist or whatever. But like that. But that's
quite impressive use of CGI. I
but it's little. It's just little touches. You know what I mean? It's not the whole thing.
Have you got an example?
CGI done cheaply or quickly can ruin scenes in films. So what I mean by that is like, I've got quite two like recent ones. The Black Panther fight see when they're going down onto the trains, and like they're quite rubbery.
Plasticine men.
Yeah, like that takes you out of it, and it doesn't. It's not ruined the film.
Matrix
like
Reloaded, like the big fight.
Yeah.
Like
and it's like rubber, rubber men fighting each other. Even a bit of Far From Home, I thought like when he was a little bit rubbery.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Did I say this to you?
I don't think so.
I'm looking forward to like when we get. I think Tom Holland is still too like young and cute. I'm looking forward to when he gets older, so he can actually have like a fist fight.
Right, you want him slugging it out.
Did I say this in the podcast?
No.
What's real life?
I don't know. Is
weird,
it on the internet? Is it not?
But like I can't wait until he's like I don't know who the next film will be. Maybe Craven or something like that.
Craven,
but I want him to actually be like breaking people's noses and faces and being like
he's as strong as a proportional spider.
Yeah, because right now he's just like bouncing off shit and like webbing people. And
I like the electro web though. Come on, the electro web was cool.
Yeah, it was. But I just want him to be like,
this is now a Spider-Man podcast.
Get fucked.
Yeah, I think there's room for that brutality. Like in
he's too nice.
Yeah,
Tom Holland now.
Tom Holland is he's a bit too clean. But he's a kid. He's a little boy.
He is. He's still a little boy.
He's a little boy. He'll get bigger. Are we talking about CG? Talking about sport?
Like Mysterio tried to shoot him in the head.
It's insane, man. That was insane. Anyway. Using special effects, CG. That CG was quite good. I thought. I was not at any point like. I think they did enough there. I don't know what bit you're referring to. What rubber bit are you referring to?
Just I can't remember exactly, but like just there was parts of the film where I was like, it probably could have. Right. Cleaned it up a little bit, or like spent a bit more time on it. Just when he was like bouncing about, it's like he's a bit rubbery.
It's a bit rubbery.
It's a bit of a rubber band.
That's the kind of how it looks, isn't it? I think Van Helsing. I watched Van Helsing.
Oh, fantastic!
Recently. There's so much
fantastic
rubberiness that goes on in that.
It's just a fucking disaster.
And like the way that they make the mouths enormous, like the jaw detaches, but like it's just on string. It just goes. Ooh.
Here, it's one of those films, but so much of it's shit. Like the acting in it is shit. Where I think it like crosses the line.
Yeah.
Like Frankenstein's monster is every line he says in it is fucking
garbage.
What is he's being like taken into the party. He's like, I curse your house.
Yeah.
You fiends or something
on your
like
house.
that.
Yeah.
It's so you're just like who?
It's quite in Shakespeare, I think. But
and then at the end it says for my father, and I was just like,
bravo,
fantastic,
bravo. I think that's the period that kind of like the early 2000s where they really were like, we can just do whatever we want. Yeah. And there's so many examples. I mean, Johnny Mnemonic. We're a big fan of that. Remember, you watched the bit with me. You watched the bit that with the dolphin like trance sequence,
where it's like inside the internet or something.
He's hacking himself. He's hacking himself.
Yeah.
Phenomenal CG. What a mess. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful mess.
It is terrible.
Watch Johnny Mnemonic.
Shit.
Like, it's very slow at the start, but there's a dolphin at the end, and it's like well worth.
I felt bad for that dolphin.
It wasn't a real dolphin.
I think some of it was a real
practical effects.
No restraint. So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So
George Lucas.
Well, we'll move on to that one. But also Godzilla King of the Monsters.
King of the Monsters.
Compared to Godzilla 2014, whereas that's a lot more like a lot of people complain because there's not enough monsters fighting each other. But when it is, it's very like two things just like banging into each other. But that's what it would be like. Whereas in the newer one, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, you've kind of made me like that film less.
Boom.
I don't like that you've done.
Boom.
I don't like it. Just so you know. I appreciate I respect you too much, I think.
That's lovely.
I respect
you. No, I have to be nice to Callum because I bully him apparently.
Yeah, back off, mate.
Yeah, nice. I know. I gave you a t-shirt. You're wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, I came in here topless, like unclothed. I needed
two
help.
T-shirts.
It's quite sweaty actually. I feel quite
the t-shirt?
hot. I'm wearing 2 layers.
Oh yeah,
so this is the only point. But
Godzilla,
you're right. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. You're absolutely right. They wanted they made a decision.
Crazy.
They made a balanced decision. Like they weren't going to go for like everything has sort of real impact. It was more like we just want to see big things fight, and I think it was cool, man. I like big things fighting. Give us more of that. Kong, get involved. Where are you? Hanging out on that island.
That's obviously the way they are going. But yeah, that's just what I mean. Like where like you shouldn't just. I'm just going to repeat myself, but because you have the money and the animators to do it. Yeah. Maybe sometimes you should rein it back.
You can't tell a better story just with more CG.
Exactly. Yeah. Just that's a lot of the things I was reading online were like CGI's overtaking story and plot and like emotions in film, and it's not. I wouldn't agree with that like across the board. But yeah, a lot of the time probably people are directors and whatever are just like just make it look good. Like
fix it in post.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is kind of shit. This script's not great. This performance isn't good. But as long as we have big stupids.
thing.
No, but it was good. Bumblebee, because it had as much as it
Wow.
had. Have you seen Bumblebee?
Yeah,
It's
what
good,
a great.
man.
It's a good film,
It's
but
good.
I love the way your brain worked there.
But it's
I approve.
it's got a bit of both.
Yeah,
You know, it has got a bit of good characters for the most part.
I enjoyed that story.
You know, but it's also got a big dancing robot.
Yeah, it's a good looking dancing robot as well, like the Terminator.
Like you fancy it?
No, but I just think it's like it's the G1 Beetle, right? And like the one like when in the sort of Michael Bay ones, you're not even sure like what is that? What am I looking at? You know, what are you?
Well, you could do a whole episode in the CGI, like
That's what we're doing.
The Transformer.
This
No,
is
but the
literally
Transformer.
the Transformer CGI.
It's just literally metal,
Crunchy,
just
shiny,
hitting
metal.
into each other. Like
Yeah.
unless you're like a child.
Which I was.
Yeah, but you're just looking at it. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah. I agree. I think that was again part of the zenith of that thing, where we can just have blocks,
Make anything.
do anything, and that's fantastic. How's the Audacity doing?
It's okay. I think it's having a bit of a bad time. What about
Star Wars? So Star Wars, yeah. This is
who was that speaking? You'll never know.
Farewell, friend. I think George Lucas, like that was he discovered he has a vision, right? I think he's one of those people that is like he has this idea of like what I want. I'm trying to make a thought here, and you keep turning around.
You're looking at the family portrait.
I'm just looking into the middle distance. I'm trying to create a thought. I'm trying to explain myself.
Good apple juice.
They can't see the apple juice.
Apple juice sponsor us.
Just any apple juice, just Del
Monte.
Monte.
Sorry.
George Lucas, right? Point is, he has a vision. He made these films that were an approximation of what he wanted to see. Then CG improved, and he was like, right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to redo the story. It's like there's like bits where there's like monsters or not aliens or whatever. We're going to put loads more scenery. We're going to like do all this stuff. We're going to put Jabba in it, and we're going to move him around. Episode 4, I think particularly, is the one that stands out.
Episode 4 is fucked.
He completely messed with it, and like
where he has Han like. He meets Jabba instead of like originally it was
some Scottish guy, right?
Well, was he meant to be Jabba the Hutt, or was he meant to be like?
Someone would know. Right in.
Dan probably knows.
Right in, Dan.
Yeah. But so Han walks around him, but basically he takes the frame of Han Solo and like bounces it up
because he's standing on the tail.
Yeah, so he's meant to be standing on the tail of Jabba the Hutt. So he like he just it's so awkward. It's
so bad.
If you've never seen it, just Google. YouTube like differences in special editions. There's a part with it's just weird shit. R2D2 is behind boulders watching Obi-Wan tend to look, and he's made the boulders bigger. And what else is there? There's the part that like dinosaur walks across it.
Yeah. What is
that? Like what the
Why
fuck?
have you done that? Yeah, that CG like it's got too much power.
Yeah,
just let it be.
But it's not even that. The special editions again could be their own episode because like there's the part in. Is it Return or is it Empire? I think it's Empire where Luke falls obviously into the where he loses his hand, gets his hand cut off, and he's like,
he does lose it.
No, but it like lasts right until he like shoots out.
In Return, it had the Ewoks blink. And they didn't blink. It's
like
that I remember
who
that.
cares?
I was just thinking like, what happened there? Like,
yeah.
It's strange.
And then
it does make you double look.
Vader going. Like before he picks up the Emperor. It's just like weird shit where you're like I can understand restoring, remastering, and like maybe like a director's cut.
I remember the Han and Greedo thing. I think there's like it's really like narrative stuff. It's like I want to tell a different that didn't go down that way. This is how it's supposed to go down, and it just looks really bad. Like I wouldn't mind if CG was such that he could have made that convincing. It doesn't look convincing. Like Han is like a fucking robot. It's so odd.
Yeah, it looks like he breaks his neck to do it. It's not like he like moves out the way. Like his whole body. It's literally like it's just bizarre.
We can't show that.
But we'll put a video up. It's fine. Will
you put a video in it?
No, well, fuck.
That'd be copyright.
I need to stop swearing. My parents listen to this bad. The original though. The original cuts. George Lucas's first wife owns.
Oh.
Like she got in the divorce. The divorcee, so maybe that's why he's like he wants to distance himself so far from it. Because if you think about
that's so sad. Like it's not about telling a story; it's about like looking after pennies.
He needs the money, I guess. That
does he?
How much did he get when Disney bought it? Literally, was it tens of millions?
£10 squillion.
Yeah, it's not even. I can't even think what you do with that amount of money.
Yeah,
weird shit, man.
Weird shit. Mess up everyone's canonical story.
Physics. Let's talk about physics.
What do you think about physics?
I don't really know much about physics. CGI physics
Okay.
So what I mean by that is like they're off.
They're off.
A lot of the time.
Off the wall.
So seeing the Predator at the end where he gets the Predator suit.
Yes.
So the thing opens, you're like, oh my god, it's going to be Dutch.
This is 2018, right? 2018.
Yeah, the Predator, yeah.
Predator.
It's going to be Dutch, it's going to be a Xenomorph, it's going to be a Terminator, just there's so many cool things.
Yeah.
No, it's like this Predator killing
Like a really
suit.
weird boxy suit.
Iron Man
Yeah.
suit. So and then it immediately like clings to someone, but it just looks like it's like worth £10. It
Yeah.
looks like it's made of tinfoil.
That's a good example of a bad example. I didn't. Yeah, it messes with physics. Yeah, like that takes you out of it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You're just watching it and you're like, that looks like shit, and
Yeah.
also like that doesn't look realistic.
Why did you bother?
Some Iron Man, some of the Iron Man stuff's like that as well. See, occasionally when you see his head and he's in the suit, like Infinity War.
They composite a lot of heads. Into
things. It looks a bit shit.
Yeah, Spider-Man's the same, and so was Banner when he's in the big Hulk suit. Like it's clearly just his head.
Yeah, when he's like, "You guys are screwed up." Yeah, that look with the Hulkbuster.
Yeah, the Hulkbuster.
Yeah. That looks weird as well. But yeah, just a lot of the time it looks like it's just slightly off.
Slightly off. Quite agree.
Also, Godzilla King of Monsters again, but like
he's raised his hand like he's got a point.
Got a point. Like when he comes out, I've said this before. When they come out of the water and they're just kind of like, so Godzilla. If Godzilla was coming out of the water, it should be like a tidal wave. He should be knocked like across the world basically. But in that they just kind of like sway side to side.
Yeah, he's being delicate.
The physics, maybe
physics are wrong.
They should have said that though. They should have been like,
ooh.
Oh, he's taking his time getting out because he doesn't want us to
get wet,
be harmed.
Right, maybe. Yeah, I think that's coming a long way though, isn't it? I think it's coming a way. It's like you can name a million examples of that, like where they just doesn't behave how you expect things to behave.
Yeah, I suppose that. But it's physics.
Like just know your physics. Get a physicist on set and sort it. Do you remember the Raid 2?
Yes.
Do you remember how it had a bigger budget?
Yes, of course.
Do you remember the bit where they're having a car chase? Car chase quite good, and then they crash through a police like a checkpoint thing.
Right.
And the checkpoint turns into like Lego.
Right.
It's bad. It's a bad example.
Is that CGI?
Yeah.
It seems weird.
It's a CG moment. It was
practical.
Definitely a CG moment. Like with a bigger budget, the whole car chase is practical. He's running, he's driving, he's getting shot at, blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
He knocks someone into a thing, and it's totally completely. I was like, I'm watching a film.
Yeah.
Really bad. And the Raid 2 is like quite a decent film. It's like all right.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
It's real good, man.
Raid 1 is great. I'll stand by that. Raid 2 not as good. And I'll tell you the moment I checked out. Car through checkpoint.
Lego car scene.
Look it up, Google it, or put
I don't
put a
really
still.
remember, so.
I'm gonna put a still of it.
I see. I'm funny about that now since we got that copyright claim.
Yeah,
I'm a bit like,
but we're talking about it. Fair use.
Yeah, maybe I should just go for it. It's more time as well.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe you, listener, if you're curious to see what I'm talking about, that's the bit.
Lego car, checkpoint. The Raid 2.
It's not a Lego car. It's the checkpoint that like it just breaks into very equal pieces.
Yeah.
It's not a natural.
It's unrealistic.
It's deeply unrealistic, and I wonder why they did it. Just have it go off the road.
The next thing I've got is can turn action scenes into messes. So this is like what I think of is like Aquaman, where I'm watching it and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I have no idea what's happening. Whereas if they were just having...
That's most of the film though.
But Aquaman is a total headache. I've said this before, but...
Isn't that right?
It just... Hello, Annabelle. But it just can turn a film into like Justice League.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know what I'm watching. Don't know who's fighting who. Don't know, is this... what's going on here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's just... Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was more practical, it was just two guys like beating the shit out of each other,
be more invested.
Be
do you want me to touch you as well, Kat?
It's a weird thing to say on the podcast.
There you go.
Look at her purring.
You can't look at a cat purr. I'm bothered by that.
Have you got
so
more?
You're just giving examples of like CG, like the reasons CG are used, or what is your podcast? What are you trying to get at? Where are we?
Right.
How far are we down that list?
I've got, this is all for yes, so this is like things that are like bad nowadays in my opinion. But
to answer the question.
The last one I've got is it shouldn't be used, CGI shouldn't be used for entire sets, and you shouldn't bring
Star Wars
dead actors back.
Star Wars.
What did I even say there? I was trying to get Annabelle to go on my shoulder.
So you shouldn't use them for
entire
whole sets.
Yeah.
You shouldn't use them to bring people back from the grave.
Yeah. What I think of that obviously is
this cat is very involved.
Tarkin from Rogue One. like when you see him for the first time, you see him in the glass, and you're like, cool, he's in the glass, and then he turns around, and you're like, fuck, like that does not look realistic at all.
No,
you know, as well with Carrie Fisher at the end, just bizarre.
And it's not like quite youthifying. They kind of have figured it out, right? Youthifying and making people older and younger. Like they found a ground there. But they haven't, like Paul Walker. Like I kind of believe Paul Walker in Fast 8. You're not a fan of it, but
I've not seen it.
They got his brother basically,
right,
who looks a bit like him, and then they kind of did some touching up. And there's a sort of quite a lingering moment when they're driving side by side, and then Paul Walker goes the one way and Vin goes the other, and it's quite emotional. And like even though I knew that was coming, I was a big fan and read up on it. I actually was like, oh, this is pretty good. It's done like, and I think because of those successes, people feel like. Now anything, the cards are off. We're just it's gonna be those deep fakes. Remember them? You ever heard about that? Read about those?
Yeah,
deep
like
fakes?
there's the one of it's Sylvester Stallone as the Terminator.
It's
the T-800. But I just think like it's weird to do that. Like put like a dead actor.
Yeah, who's getting paid? Like who owns that? Yeah, who's paying for that?
Well, like it's obviously the family, and it's like, but the family said it was okay. It's like, of course they probably paid you millions of dollars or whatever,
or pounds,
yeah. And like the thing I always think of, and like using the sets for CGI is there's a scene in episode 3. I love episode 3. It's probably one of my favourite Star Wars films. And
don't
hindsight
even think about it.
I think she's going to jump on it.
Don't even think about it.
But there's a scene where Anakin tells Mace Windu that what's his name? Oh my god, Senator
Palpatine.
Yeah, is Darth Sidious. And instead of
stay right where you are.
She's okay.
Can you just hold on to that cat?
Yeah, let me go
while you make your point, because I'm not. This is a new shirt.
Fair enough. And instead, so he tells him he's the villain that everyone's looking for, and instead of like being like, oh my god, let's run, they just calmly start walking again. So they stop for a second, have this conversation, and then they're like, okay, and like calmly walk. It's probably bad direction as well, but I think they only had so much set because it's CG. So they're like, we can't have you go that quickly, or we can't show this. So her hair's everywhere.
Yeah. I'm covered. I'm literally covered.
On you go. That's nice. Just lie down.
I believe that. It's like they've got that gangway. There's the bit where you watch all the bloopers, and they're literally like so much of it's one gangway. Yeah,
there's that bit where Obi-Wan's in the spaceship, and he's like, you're like going along, and it's really bad. But yeah, I always think of that. Like, you shouldn't use it unless you need to, unless like you're saying like it's some made up world,
fantastical world,
but there's no real need for it.
Yeah, I think the prequels was about like we can just do anything with computers, and so like why would we bother building stuff practically?
Yeah, and that's all my negatives. I've got some positives as well.
CGI hasn't ruined films, which I think is what we do believe.
I wouldn't like my first positive is like where animation is.
Yes.
So like Toy Story 4. Incredible. That first scene where they're doing the rescue in the rain.
Rain really helps CG, doesn't it? Like I think it allows you to like blur lots of lines.
It's like I think Finding Nemo was like a big thing for that, like the sea, like all the different like tones of it, and and
that 1998 Godzilla, like so they put it all in the wet so that it can make the CG look better.
All of that looks photorealistic. Even the Lion King, I've not heard great things about it. It's just out today, but I think it looks.
I want to see it.
It looks like you're watching like a wildlife documentary, but like they're going to be talking, which is like
that's what it'll all be once all the animals die. That's what we'll look at.
I think that'll be an issue watching it, because you'll be like, you can't. One of my favourite bits in The Lion King is where Simba's on the vine and he jumps up and dives in the water.
Yeah,
you can't have that with this one.
Because facial expressions and things like that.
Well, you can't have that though, because
it's
too realistic. You can't like tell a lot of like emotion from the eyes, because it just does look like a real lion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, but it's not, that's not what they're going for. I don't know what they're going for, but it's not that.
But I just mean like it's incredible how far like CGI and like animated films have come, and like if done well, you can like have something really amazing and impressive, like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Like that was obviously
award winning.
Yeah, but it was done with like, a lot of like effort and passion, and Andy Serkis, whatever. Like obviously
his Imaginarium is like the sort of forefront leader of that. What are you doing?
Just going for a bite.
Don't bite me.
Like that's incredible. Like to watch that, because he blends into the.
But is he used sparingly? Like it's like they go to New Zealand, and like the setting and the scenery and like Mount Doom is the only bit that's really striking, or maybe when they're on Orthanc as well.
What do you mean? As
Like
used
Lord of the Rings, like the CG is used for this one character. If all the characters were like that, say for example Battle of the Five Armies, right? Like it's good when used in modest amounts, using it to do this one little thing, not trying to sort of plaster a whole film in this spectacle.
Not have every character as
like being touched up, being made younger, being made older.
Saying touched up, I hate it.
What do you mean touched up? Little touch up?
No, yeah, I suppose it's like if every character was it, you would be like, oh, this is kind of ruined it sort of thing. But just him as a character, like obviously they took a lot of time and effort to do that.
And even between the films, that you notice, like in Fellowship, his eyes are so enormous. Excuse me, am I distracting you from?
No, it's cat hair. It's everywhere.
His eyes look really bulbous and strange, and then the second one, when like Frodo and Sam have to hang out with him, he looks loads better.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And
cool.
Even like as much as people like shit on it and stuff like that, Jar Jar Binks and the Phantom Menace, like for the time, that is. He looks like a real character, I would say. Like he looks like a guy dressed up. Do you know what I mean? Or like a real alien. Yeah. Compared to like Yoda, really in that bad, who's half puppet, half CGI throughout the whole film. But I think he looks really, really good. And the Asian stuff that you've seen a lot in like in Marvel, I think that it's still got a little way. Like
I think the Tron Legacy one stands up, and that was the first example of the scene. I think it probably will go down as a bad example for lots of people. But I was like,
it was on a lot of the lists. I was
Tron Legacy. I think is like a really fantastic like example. They use CG really well.
Yeah. There's this thing called the Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. We've talked about this.
Yeah. Right. So it's basically like there's. The human eye.
It's describing a graph, isn't it?
Yeah, you can basically the human eye and like human beings can detect fakeness really, really well. So when they design things like R2D2, there's certain thing the way he's designed that makes it like appealing to us, and not to believe
he's
that
a pedal bin.
It's human. But yeah, and also the noise he makes. Like,
have you seen the Malcolm Tugger thing where he's describing Star Wars?
yeah.
The hairdresser and the space cowboy.
Fucking hairdresser. But you know,
fucking fucked his sister.
And that's. I'm going to watch that.
I love it. It's so
good. There's like
the shiny man.
The Tarkin part. There's a lot wrong with that because like immediately when you look at that, you're like, what the fuck is that?
Leia. When you see Leia, it's a bit like, oh, but I like this because I want to like this. And it's like the Tarkin is you're not attached in that way. To
but like some of the de-aging stuff, I think even now with how far we've come, the Robert Downey Jr. one in Civil War, I like to say it was like really, really good. I would say the Kurt Russell one and I think Guardians 2 is a little shit.
Yeah,
he's a little shiny.
He's plasticine.
He's a bit of a shiny man.
Plasticine is where that's the natural CG sort of
natural habitat.
Composite. Yeah, like that's what they make things out of.
Yeah. But it was just So has it ruined films? Absolutely not.
Cats. What about bloody cats? What do you think about? We were sitting in between a cat.
Yeah, I love the cat, but the film it's not for me.
But it's lots of CG. It relates to our topic.
Yeah, they look far too small to be
They're
cats.
supposed to be small. Yeah.
No, I know, and I understand that cats are smaller.
Yeah.
She's
than the average human being.
But they look far too small. They're a weird shape. Their face is like they look like the Cat in the Hat.
How did they film that? It's the Cat in the Hat design. But how did they? I wonder just how they did that. I wonder.
I've seen a bit of a behind the scenes thing, and it is like it's.
Oh yeah, you're not interested in this film at all.
It's just like a green suit they're in, basically.
The mocap
like as soon as I seen James Corden and like basically he looks like the Penguin, but he's wearing like green. Like skin tight. And I was just like, get fucked. Like I'm not watching this shit.
Get fucked, James. That's our position.
He can 100%. Well, not Gavin and Stacey. I'm looking forward to that coming back.
He's bringing it back.
On Christmas, just for a Christmas special. But
cats, man. What do we think, everyone?
CGI, it's a necessary evil, I would say.
Yeah.
And if it's done right, then it's...
And pay the bloody animators, man. Yeah. They're doing so much work. And there's like a million of them. You look at the credits and it's like an enormous team of people. And they're definitely not paid enough.
There's just cat hair in the air, man.
Unionise. Sort it out, animators.
The cat hair.
Don't unionise cat hair. I mean, have they got any goals?
They just want to be loved, and you won't.
No, I feel like I should be allergic to cats. I have this weird sort of resistance to them.
You're not a fan, but they're lovely. Do an episode on cats. Okay, so I think that'll do because we're I think that'll do.
It's a decent length. It's a decent enough length.
Yeah.
Come back.
It was fun. It was good to have you back.
Thanks for having me back.
It felt like weeks since.
Because it was a week.
I know, but it's felt longer. I don't know why.
Let's sit on that.
What's your opinion on that?
It felt like about a week.
Alright, okay.
It was nice. It was nice to have time away. That's what we said at the start. It's nice to have time away, and it's nice to have a bit of CG. They're necessary evils.
I thought you were going to go on another let's break this up comment where you're like,
oh,
we need guests every
I would love a
week.
guest. Write in if you want to come on the show.
Yeah, we need another guest. I don't know who.
And like honestly, you come on the show and bring your own topic because we're out of topics.
We're not out of topics. It's
we're
just
fresh out of topics.
We need discussions rather than Callum's idea of a perfect podcast.
Shut up.
Is us
now we're having a fight. We're having the obligatory fight at the
he
end of the
wants
podcast.
us listing
I
films.
don't want us listing films.
And being like, I like it. I don't like it. It's okay.
Is that ever been the case? Is that shut up.
Films.
You're making me so
from
angry.
the year we were born.
That was a good
Garbage.
podcast. That was a
Throw
good
it in the
podcast.
garbage.
That was a fantastic podcast. Don't even film reports, just listing films that people make. That was your idea.
What was
we'll
that?
do Emma Stone
That's
and
done
Ryan
really
Gosling.
well.
Yeah,
that was like our highest watched episode.
But that was literally listing the Wikipedia article.
That was a good episode.
So you can suck a big one.
Oh goodness.
See you next week.
Right, thank you very much. Follow us on the gram and follow us on
Twitter.
subscribe on YouTube. No, Twitter's dead.
6 out.
Twitter's dead.
I'm tweeting.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tweeted at Julia Kristeva the other day.
Who's that?
She didn't get back to me.
Who's that?
Julia Kristeva of the abject horror fame. She wrote an essay.
That thing that you went. Oh,
the
that
French philosopher.
That was
French
a bad
Bulgarian
thing.
philosopher.
I was trying to edit that and I fell asleep. It was bad. Thank you so much. Yeah, follow us on the gram.
He's so mean to me.
Follow us. Oh, don't even. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, and we will see you next week.
See you then.